Hello, hello. So, I've been making a lot of talk videos recently or discussion videos, and I thought, maybe I start making a couple more because it's kind of what has worked on my channel so far. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this style of content. I thought I'd give you guys something else a little bit different today. First thing before we get in the video, I know you've read the title. This is going to be about getting into Smash Esports. So if you're looking to get in, I'm going to give you what I have used so far to join esports teams, get on contracts, etc., whether you're a player or a commentator, what I would recommend from personal experience. First thing I will talk about that isn't really in the video, but is interesting to say the least, is I was looking at NTC Esports. I'm guessing you saw the video. They literally shut down yesterday, so I don't know whether that was like the role that I had in the team and then they weren't able to fill those roles or other roles that they lost. But essentially they collapsed, unfortunately, for NTC, so that's no fun. RIP NTC. I was mad about, how management was run, but there were some really good people there, and seeing a lot of people kind of, lose their job or their team is no fun. So yeah, to all the people that, were at NTC, if you guys are ever looking for help or anything, I'm always here for advice or anything like that. So yeah, hopefully you guys, are doing well, and hope to see you on, continue with your journey in esports, because there are a lot of good players in that team, and a couple good people in management as well. So, all right, that is over. Now we're here to talk about, all right, what you're here for. I'm going to give you 5 things if you're looking to become a commentator, and 5 things if you're looking to become a player in Smash Esports, specifically kind of FGC, what I would recommend for you. I'm going to give you kind of your beginning step and then how you can progress as a player in the industry or as a commentator in the industry. First thing I'm going to say is we're going to start with players and then move to commentators. So the 5th thing I would recommend for players, which is basically like a given, is just practice. Your number one thing that you should be worried about, there's like a little hair on my camera. You should be worried about practice. Practice, practice, practice. Don't listen to Allen Iverson. Practice matters, especially for Smash. Really just focusing on, really, if you're going to play people at your level, kind of adjusting, getting rid of your bad habits, working on combos, working on neutral, working on recovery, working on, different setups, ledge trumping if you're an ultimate. If you're in melee, then, dashing to ledge so people can't, grab it, or you have a ton of other things that you can do in rivals. You can work on your wave dashing, movement, parries. You're looking at, let's say, P+. There's so much P+, but very similar with melee. So really just working on, everything that you can in your game as fast as you can, trying to become the best player possible, because that is what people are looking for. So you should be playing every day, if not almost every day, and practicing with people above your level, at your level, and below your level. When you're facing people above your level, you really just got to play as hard as you can and, try to do your best. And then kind of that's where you see a lot of your bad habits. That's where you're going to lose a lot of games. You're going to be like, okay, this didn't work, so what can I try? When you're playing people at your level, it's going to be more competitive. You're going to see a lot of, like, just working on your neutral, and that's what you can kind of focus on the most, is really just trying to say, okay, how do I, move around and set up for my combos or my punishes, etc., etc.? How do I whiff punish them? What do I need to do? And in your lower tier games, we're playing against people that are worse than you. You can definitely focus on your combos. That's what you should be doing, focusing on stringing them, taking them out at low percent, 0 to 60s, do whatever you want. Basically stuff like that. So I would say that's kind of like your main thing. So you're playing it as if, you're kind of in a learning experience. I saw something actually yesterday that was really good. And who was it by? It was like a Bowser. He was dressed up in this like odd Bowser costume, but he was actually, spitting facts. He was talking about how Smash is sort of a learning experience rather than playing to win, right? So you learn more from your losses, which, it's kind of self-explanatory. A lot of people know that. But yeah, for those, like I said, you're going to be focusing on your neutral when you're in your matchups against other people of your same skill level. You're going to be really just trying to sweat it out, play the best you can when you're playing against people of higher level, and they're usually going to win. If you find a way to cheese them, sometimes happens, but yeah, really just learning from, how they play against you is huge. And then at your lower levels, like we said, working on combos. That's just kind of like a general thing. There's so many ways to get, good at Smash, and it's just going to take years of practice, but it's like the number one thing you want to do if you want to get good as a pro player, is spending every day and I'll do more in-depth videos in the future. If you guys want like really good technical like level of play type stuff to look into, and you're in like Melee, it's funny enough, but if you look at like old Smash boards and you're like just starting out, there are a lot of stuff if you like dig deep, or you look at like Mewtwo King's speeches. I mean, there's so many videos out there you can look to learn at Melee, or probably a little bit less for P+. But for Ultimate, I mean, there's so many setups. It's very similar to Smash 4 and how it works. So it kind of carried over. So you have a lot of stuff from people that have developed into Ultimate and then giving you all of their knowledge on how to play a character. And there's just so much out there for that. And then for Rivals, there are also, I would say, maybe less, also kind of similar in the P+ range, where there's less to talk about, but there's still a lot of gameplay and footage that you can look at. So yeah, number 4. Sorry, this is taking a while. I'm going to try to speed up my talking. So yeah, we already talked about, really just practicing on your play, working on your play as a player, because that is the number 1 thing that will get you signed. Number 4 is going consistently to locals, or smaller tournaments that are around you that you can make it to. Usually these are going to be your tournaments, whether you're in a good region or not, but it will get you a ton of practice. So like a good example is like my buddy Kasai started going to his Texas local, and now he is playing someone like Mudace. So you have people more at his level that he has kind of passed, and now he's getting into, I would say, close to PGR in his local area. So he's not, of course he's not Mudace level, but he's on his path to getting to that type of play. So hopefully, somebody like that, you can start to go from your local to your regional, and then, to the big majors, which we'll talk about in a second. But really just going to local play, making connections, partnerships with a lot of people that are there. You're going to find, networking opportunities even at your locals. Maybe with a friend that you didn't know. I literally met somebody that I have never seen since middle school at a Smash tournament at Afterglow recently, which was hilarious. I was like, dude, how have we not seen each other? And it's like, it's been like 5 years or 6 years. And, yeah, he's a really cool dude. Great guy. Plays a lot of Melee, plays a lot of ult. Really chill dude. So yeah, I just having fun at locals, guaranteed. Going to locals will make you a better player, because you're going to be doing what I said to do in the first, which is play people at your level, people above your level, people below your level when you're practicing. Just do just everything. You're going to be doing literally every single movement and then mastering it at the top level. And just going in, going to the practice bot, which is another thing I should have said. When you're practicing, you should train against the bot and really just lab out combos, or watch other people lab out combos to then practice your own, etc., etc. And, yeah, locals are a fantastic way to do that. Number 3 is, so after we've talked about, practicing, going to these smaller tournaments, is going to be to save up money to go to a major. When you feel that you are winning your locals, and you're winning some of the smaller tournaments around that are, a couple hundred people tournaments, or you're getting really close, you're getting top 8 finishes, you should really start to consider going to tournaments, because if you could make, top 64, say at a major, which has over 1,000 people, or even if you make like top 296, say, right, you're in the top cut. First of all, going to a major is a great experience. They have a lot of opportunities there, a lot of networking there. Actually, I think literally I went to Riptide this past year, and they had like a whole Panda Global table, like literally right there. I'm not saying you're gonna get signed by Panda Global, but I'm saying there's a lot of opportunities. I actually got, my first sponsorship from going to tournaments, and I had talked to them, literally like a year, 2 years prior. Shout out Control and Color. Fantastic boys. We have a cool sponsored video coming from them soon, and also the podcast. So yeah, really just going to majors and, performing to the best of your ability. So it's kind of like the slow grind. This is really just like, you probably know this already, is practicing, going to your local and smaller tournaments, building up to the bigger tournament when you feel like you have gained enough skill to where you're outperforming other people where you're locally at. So you'll be like, okay, I'm ready for people that are out of my area that are probably better than me, that I can, get to the level to, or maybe I already am at that level. So yeah, moving forward from that, really you build off those connections as a player, and you're going to be able to find a lot of different opportunities. So it really is just, being able to network as a player or a commentator, because we're talking about both, but if you really want to get in an esports team as a player, it's going to be starting to get results around those areas, right? In those locals, then you can kind of show off. There will be smaller teams that, might look for you. And if you really start popping off at a major level, top 64 type kind of stuff, people start to look at you, and you can start to get contracts, or in general, maybe not contracts, but people will fly you out to events if you're performing well and you're on stream for them, and you make their sponsors happy essentially by being on stream and promoting their brand. So I think that's one thing to look forward to, is if you're really putting in the time and effort, um, and networking well with your friends from the locals, and then at majors and top level, that's really something you can look forward to, is trying to look for maybe a small sponsor, or a team that might be a little bit smaller but could maybe get you to a tournament or two that year. I think a lot of people, when they're going into Smash, just in general, and you're coming out of the scene, you're not really sure what to do. You're kind of scrounging around Twitter, Smash.gg, literally anywhere to find a small team that will fly you out to like every tournament that year. It's like, if you're performing at a level that isn't in, you're not a top 32 like lock at every major that you go to, usually people are not going to fly you out to events. I'm sorry, I'll be straight up honest. But if you can get, a couple solid results where you can get on stream and you can perform well for your team, you might get like, they could fly you to a couple events that year, like a couple majors, to where you can have fun and do things like that. So that's one thing I would say, is don't overstep, right? You're looking to join an esports team. Do not overstep. So this is kind of step 4 we're going into, is kind of know where you're at as a player and what teams are willing to offer you. As someone who's been in esports, I can kind of tell you, from a management side, like what they would look for is, realistically, where your placements are is number 1. What kind of people you surround yourself with. Like I said, like kind of going to people like I personally know, like Kasai, he has really good surroundings as far as like knowing people like Mudace and people to play against in his area, in the San Antonio, Texas area. There are a lot of great players down there that you can surround yourself with. So kind of looking at things like that, like who they're playing with, who they're making content with. Like, are you making any content as a Smash player? You don't have to, but it definitely can help you in your progress to look for a team, because Smash teams also look for content creators. And if you're having a good time content creating, it's another flow of revenue for you, and another way an esports team can look and get you on their team and fly you out to set events. So realistically, it really is just having good networking connections over these times of going to these majors, these locals, and then approaching a team with a proper response. So it's like, if you're going to a smaller team that doesn't have much funds, say like when NTC was still a thing, right? What you would want to do is you would want to say, hey, could you fly me out to maybe like CEO and Genesis this year, right? And they could perform as well as they do. And if they get on stream, it'd be really good for the small esports team for exposure. It'd be worth their time if they perform well. So that's kind of exactly what you're looking for if you're a smaller player that's just getting out of these locals, is to try to just get to maybe a couple events instead of saying, go for everything. And then when you get to the point where you are making top 32, people like, Chag, who just kind of flew on the scene, or you had people like Flash did really well at Riptide, and I mean, there's like a lot of like, just random Smash people that, make a top 8 or a top 32, and nobody expected them to, and it was really good for that person, and they had like, oh, I had this crazy top 8 or top 32 result. A lot of teams can look at that and say, hey, can you repeat this result? And they'll kind of test that player and see where they can go. So when you get to that point, if you're ever, a breakout player, that's when you can start to, demand, I guess, yeah, good to go to more tournaments and ask for like, maybe to go to say, I'm going to go to these 5 tournaments this year. I would like, kind of that level of, you guys either help me or help me get to this. But realistically, you're not going to get a paid contract until you're like a consistent, ranked player. Like, you look at like people who are like in the top 50 of Smash, we're talking like the 0.001% of competitive Smash. Those are the only people that are really going to get contracts and get flown out to every event and have every room paid for. But those are the people, like, that's like, realistically, if you want to get sponsored, you're not going to be able to get to that level unless you really put in years and years of effort. So a lot of people that are just coming into Smash Esports and saying, hey, I'm just going to join a team and start doing this, it's like, you really got to put in the time and the years and really just slowly build up to that, because you can't go to that off rip. That's kind of like my general consensus for like my 5-ish facts. They were kind of scrambled, but yeah, if you're a Smash player, really just focus on your play, and when you're going to an esports team, kind of know where you're at and know what teams are expecting of you and what they can offer you, right? So kind of ask them first, what can they offer for my type of player? If they're looking for smaller players to maybe just kind of expose their brand to a different area or something like that, like I talked about, really just try to focus on what is good for you and what you can do as a player. It's really similar with commentating, a little bit different in how you practice, but I'll kind of give you my pointers. And this will be, I would say, a little bit more informative. I guarantee you there are better people that you can talk to about, getting into Smash competitively. But that's kind of my first take, is really just, entering those online tournaments, those locals, building up from there, building your connections, and then looking for small esports teams and then to larger esports teams if you perform well. Kind of knowing where you're at is the major point of trying to get into esports. That's like the one thing that a lot of players just are like, I don't know what to do because I just did this thing. I think it's cool. Do other people think it's cool? Can I make money? I don't know. That's kind of like what I see a lot of smaller players that are just like, I just won the Chicago local for Melee. There were like 100 people there. That was crazy. What do I do? You take that and you go to a small org and you say, hey, can you fly me out to CEO or big event? But don't do too many. Do like 2. You could do like 2. If they're like a small event, they could probably invest a couple $100 into you. But that's probably it. That's why I ask. Some might not even be able to do that. Some might only be able to do 1, which is why I say, it's not like saying don't get greedy, but like just know that those small teams are going to be able to offer you things and bigger teams aren't going to come to your level. So that's what I mean by the build up. So I've talked about that a lot. I think that's about all I can say. If you guys have any questions in the comments, please feel free to ask me. Sorry, this video is already running on like super long. I just want to do more discussion types, and I know a lot of people enjoyed it. So now we're going to talk about commentary. All right. That was as a Smash player, what I recommended. Here's what I recommend for commentary, which is going to be more constructed, and I would say probably better as an explanation, as I've done this like my whole, 6-7 years of commentating, something like that now. So, where to start? Good question. I really popped off during the COVID era, so online tournaments were the wave. So step 1, before that, step 1, what I want you to do, whatever FGC game you are practicing, make sure, and I mean make sure, you know it to a T. You know it like the back of your hand. What I want you to do is I want you to study sets, including, like online sets, offline sets. I want you to look at like the top players of your game. Like say you are a Melee player, right? Or not a Melee player. Say you are a Melee commentator or trying to get into Melee commentary. The first thing that I want you to study and look at is like all of the inner workings of Melee. So what I want you to do, I want you to watch Toph. I think Toph, I love Toph. I cannot get it. I've been watching so much Toph lately. I mean, I already did, but like I've just been watching exceedingly more. But watching people like that, or like Bobby Scar, just people who have such an in-depth knowledge on the game and can offer you like all of the knowledge on this random stuff. You're like, what is crouch canceling? What does Galint mean? What is, ledge dashing? What is wave dashing? If you're just getting into it. Really learning those intricacies and, small parts of the game means so much for your commentating and something you can look back on. A lot of analytical commentators make it to the top pretty quickly over the ones that get hype, because you'll look at people and you'll be like, wow, they have such an in-depth knowledge on the game and they're offering so much to the viewer, is kind of like the main point. So if you're going to be a hype man or an in-depth commentator, I would go towards the more detailed if you could. If you're a really hype guy and you have a lot of good reactions, I mean, usually those will come from like Twitch streamers or people who are, I guess, just good at reacting. Realistically, you're going to have those people. But if you're someone who's just getting into it, I would really recommend going into a more descriptive route of your commentary. So focusing on the intricacies of, you should know like every move in the game. I know it's really weird to say, but like you should, yeah. So learn every move, which sounds ridiculous. Just like, what? How would I? You got to play the game. I'm sorry. So if you want to, so this is, I talked about practicing Smash. Now it's time to practice commentary. What you will do is you're going to watch, you're going to learn all the intricacies and weird things. Watch Awesome Sauce. He's got some funny, weird things that you can look at. The nipple spike from Falcon. I guess you've probably seen that video. I knew about it before the video, but a lot of people didn't. And a lot of you new guys don't. But it's really freaking funny. So if you don't know, Falcon's nipple spikes, he only has like 2 hitboxes. It was basically, it's a small hitbox because of his, it's, watch the video. But yeah, there's there's a lot of stuff like that that's really fun to talk about if it ever happens in Melee. Sometimes it doesn't, right? But you have a lot of these small things that can build your commentary and be really cool to talk about. So those are the things. Learn the small things, learn every move. When you have done that, when you have learned how the game is played, which is really important, you must learn how the game is played, whether it's Melee, whether it's Smash Ultimate, Rivals, P+, whatever you do. You look at those games, right? You really need to watch next. This is 4. After you've studied the game, I kind of briefly talked about it. Watch it at a top level, right? I want you to watch at a low level, mid level, top level. I want you to learn the difference and the progression, because you learned about like how you can implement these things, but you have to learn about how you can understand what's happening, in neutral. Because as a commentator, I talked about this too. Somebody had a really good tweet about it like a month ago, and it's like, if you're going 0-2 in bracket, you shouldn't do commentary, which is usually true. I will say there are points where that's like not 100% true if they're like cracked out at commentating, but for the most part, that's like pretty much true. Like, for me, we won't talk about what happened in my last local because I got rolled by somebody, but it's fine. I should have gone like 4-2, but I played like the second and fourth seed and lost in like a 100-man tournament. But we won't talk about my 1 and 2. In general, you want to be someone who's very understanding of how the game is played. So really, being a player before a commentator is how most people get into it, but it's really important. I think commentary is a very special skill that not everybody has, and playing, I would say, maybe harder to some people, but I would say commentating is still not a job that anybody can just walk into. And I think it's really underappreciated as far as like things go, because a lot of top players, can just go into commentating, but that is because they have a very big knowledge of the game, where you take somebody else who doesn't, and it feels really awkward. So that's why I talk about it. Really understand the differences, how people progress. You might not be able to perform that. I can definitely not perform to the way Mango does or the way MKLeo does. Or Cake Assault. None of the goats, right? I am nowhere close. But I understand why they do what they do, right? I understand it's like, okay, he punished him because he rolled this way. He followed up with, whatever it may be. Like, say he saw the roll, there's this big thing, right, where it was a Charizard rolling back and it was Tweak, and somehow MKLeo knew. It was a crazy massive read, turn around, F smashed, end of the stock, game, set, match. It was over. It was ridiculous. You see, like, that's a moment you will never understand, but there are very small moments like that, and in the big picture, in the bigger scheme of things, you're going to understand how people are playing neutral more, spacing out their arrows. You're going to see, like, the spacing and the level of play, slightly just, I would say spacing is probably, like, the biggest thing you see. Like, it's just, but I say the biggest thing, but in Smash, it's like everything's really small and micro adjustments, right? So besides like that, you see like the micro spacing and neutral increasingly get better, and the movement, I love seeing the progression of people move in different games, right? Where you start with, okay, low level, you're seeing people, like, especially in Melee, you see people like wave dash, and then they're just like, oh man, this is sick, and then you see it performed at a top level with like integrated with somebody like Falco with a ton of lasers, or someone like Falcon or Sheik who does a lot of grabs, and they're kind of moving and trying to play into that, or Marth, and really just kind of fishing into your combos most of the time, or just playing really good spacing in neutral and just throwing out aerials to kind of deflect what the other player is playing. It's really cool. So just really understanding, right, how that works. You really just need to take time, watch so much. Just watch, like I said, what I want you to do, right? I want you to watch everything and then watch some more, right? What I want you to do, learn all of the moves, learn all the small things, all of the cool little facts that you can spit into your commentary, and then understand how the play works. Those are the two major things that you can really get better at as a commentator, even like any day of the week. Like there are so many things I probably don't know about, all of the games, and I'm always continuously learning. Maybe it might be small, but there is always going to be something out there that hasn't been discovered yet. Like Slingshot. Slingshot was huge in Ultimate. Nobody did anything to do, or really any idea that it existed. And then you just see Gibber just drops his banger, and we're just like, bro, and like somebody like Fatality with his Falcon is just going to be like goated. Like, this changes everything. And it's like, when you get to that point where you understand how that kind of affects play, when you understand these small things that are so huge for play, that can definitely affect your commentary and how you can talk about the game. Because slingshotting, like, especially for a character like Falcon, he struggles to turn around, right? So if he's trying to turn around, it's going to be really slow. But you can do something like a slingshot. So say you down it, right? You can do a slingshot knee, which is way faster at killing, right? You don't have to have the turnaround animation, and you can get to where you are, like, so much faster, like incredibly faster. And with that, it really allows you to kill like insanely early, like way earlier than you ever really could as a Falcon, because some of that stuff wouldn't be true. True meaning, of course, if you guys don't know, like, a true combo is just something that somebody cannot get out of. So, yeah, that's 4 and 5. We're gonna go to 3. I am so sorry. I'm taking literally forever. It's going to be like a 30-minute video. But hopefully you guys are enjoying it. It's a lot of me talking and rambling, but hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I'm guessing there will be times where you guys have to skip through, but I'm trying to give you as much information as I can in a small-ish amount of time. So, number 3, right? We've talked about learning the game, the fundamentals, which obviously you should do as, a Smash player trying to get into esports too. We talked about that. But at a 3rd level, right? Okay, so you've learned everything that you've wanted to learn about the game, right? You've watched commentary. You've watched the small things that you don't know about, but now you do. Now you know about the nipple spike, wow, pog. Now you know the difference and the skill gap between these players and how it kind of works, how the game is played. Next, what you would like to do, number 4, is start commentating your local events. It's basically going to be a really similar route to as you are as a Smash player, as we talked about. I mean, the big thing is just getting better as a player and improving. That, honestly, probably got less from that than you will this commentary, like I said. Or commentary, what's it called? Explanation and how to get, higher in esports. So, with that, right, at number 3, you want to start commentating your locals, your small online tournaments. You're probably not going to get paid, like, literally at all. I'm sorry. Most of it's going to be volunteer work. But here's what you do, right? Here's what you do. You go to all of these locals, all these small events, all of these online tournaments, and you just put your voice out there. You use your knowledge. You use what you can do about the game. You put in some funny quips. You find another person that is, similar to you and how you commentate and people you like to commentate with. And you kind of build yourself around those people at those locals, like we talked about with your Smash. When you're a Smash player. But yeah, that's going to be the main thing. You're not going to get paid, like, basically at all. But what I want you to do is go to all these tournaments, make as many friends as possible, as many networks as you can. Just talking, getting everybody you can who's doing TOing, who's doing, literally, like, anything. I'm going to do a separate video for TOing, by the way, because TOing is its, like, whole own thing. But, or maybe I will talk about it, but TOing is a lot. It's very interesting. It's also a lot about networking. I'll probably briefly talk about it. So at that point, right, after you've commentated all of your locals, all of these online tournaments, number 2 is what you're going to want to do. This is the big thing. This is really what gets you to where you need to be, is making a highlight reel with your result, or not your results, but your commentary from your small tournaments that you've been to maybe some of the slightly bigger events that you've been to. I want you to find those best moments. You want to find your best references for when you're going to apply to the major tournaments, which will be our last thing. So what I want you to do is make a fantastic video, pay somebody, or if you're a crazy cracked out editor, nice, good for you. This is your moment to shine. But what I want you to do, pay somebody whatever amount of money, probably like $50 to $100 if you can save up that, great. If you can't, maybe look for some other options to get it edited, but really just getting something that highlights what you know about the game, your prowess, your skill in commentating and as a broadcaster. If you can do that, that is absolutely fantastic. If you get a video, that is literally all anyone asks for. If you're joining an esports team, if you're going to commentate major events, literally number 1, what do they want? A commentary reel. So what I want you to do, get that previous experience that we talked about, right? Going to these local events, these online events that probably aren't going to pay you at all, unfortunately, but that's how it goes. Just Smash commentator life, RIP. So when you do that, right, you take all that, you clip it up, you make it some banger video, right? Awesome, nice. You've done what you needed to do. You brought in your funny hype moments, your fantastic explanation moments on weird things that have happened, etc., etc. After, I would say a decent time of commentating the game. I would say before you commentate a major, you should at least be, a year into commentating Smash, if not more. I think I didn't commentate a major until I was like 2 years into commentating, before I commentated like my first Frostbite. So there you go. After that, right, this is the last thing. So after you've made your video, this is where you start applying to majors. I guess, okay, there's 6 things for commentary, but this is where you start applying to majors after you have your sick highlight reel video that you've built over the last year or 2. You've really worked on it. You think, hey, I'm ready to pop off. Here's the thing, right? If you want to get signed by an esports team, and as we all know, it is expensive to go to tournaments. Here's the thing. What I want you to do is pick correctly, which is like a lottery. All right, this is really hard. But what I want you to do, if you can only go to like 1 tournament this year, it's got to be big, and you want to get on a team, I call this the Arbiter Method, which is really funny. But it's kind of, hear me out. It sounds weird. Arbiter's a really good commentator, so you're like, what does he have to do with it? Him and Laird took this route, which is very cool, and it's worked out successfully for them, like, I would say tenfold, right? So what you need to do, because you're not going to be someone like, Rodney Conyers Jr., who's been in this for 12 years. You're going to be some newbie who's been doing this for 1 or 2. So, not Laird and Arbiter are not newbies. Sorry, that's not what I meant. But, they were newer, I would say, in the past couple years. So, right, what they've done is they have taken their talents, they have put it into one really good tournament. I think Laird, it was... Oh, frick, what's the tournament? I'm going to check real quick. I apologize. I'm on their Discord, so I have to check. I don't know if I left recently. I might have, so I would feel bad if I did. Oh, yeah. So I'm pretty sure I was supposed to commentate with Laird at Collision, which was a massive tournament that happened in Canada. And he popped off. He did exceedingly well and then went to work with, I think it was Paragon Esports. Am I dumb? Yes, Paragon. Thank you. Great for me. All right. So you basically take all of your experience. You go to one major tournament, pick well, right? I would say apply to like everything you can, right? Apply to everything you can just for like the next year, and then hopefully you get into one. That's basically how it works. I got lucky because I knew people in Michigan, so I was able to get to somewhere like Big House or Frostbite, or some of our other big tournaments that we've had, like Riptide commentated at. It was really cool. So when you get to that point, right? When you get to this point of saying, okay, what am I going to do to get to the next level, to get to a team, is, like we said, apply to all those tournaments. Find one that you really want to go to. Preferably the one with the most entrants is going to be the best for you. You're going to try to get the biggest exposure possible, and really, you just got to pop off, right? That's the only way to explain it. You have to have a really good commentating set, get a great partner, and just go off. Like I said, why I call this the Arbiter Method is because what he did, right? Smaller commentator, not really anybody knew him like too much. He goes to Port Priority. Funny enough, we talked about this guy, one of my mentors, very cool dude, Rodney Conyers Jr. Poggers, right? Sick dude. He commentates with him, right? Arbiter commentates with him at Port Priority, right? Pops off. Has one of the best commentary sets I have ever seen out of, a young commentator, which was so cool, right? So he's having a banger time, right? He's really funny guy, bouncing off Rodney, having a lot of, they connected on like another level and had a really good set. I think they did mostly top 32. I think they did top 8 as well. And it was a really sick time, like really fun time for both of them. And then like literally after that tournament, instantly signed. Instantly. So, what have we learned? Start small. Study everything, right? That we talked about. Go through. Get your connections in your locals. Slowly build up your resume. Edit your video. That's going to be huge. That'll give you that commentary, like big old, okay, not big old, maybe like a 10-minute video. Something that somebody will want to watch through, maybe even 5 minutes, because it's really just you talking over Smash, right? They don't want to hear it for like, I don't like, because I'll be honest, a lot of like TOs and people who run the events, like they're just looking for like somebody who's like, really, really solid, and they're going to want a good piece of video. So you make that the best editing you can, and they'll be like, oh, nice, like I'll be honest, like the reason I straight up got into a lot of stuff is like I commentated like Frame Perfect with like Mewtwo King, back in like, I don't know, whatever it was, like 2018, 2019, 2020. I don't remember what year. I did a couple Frame Perfects, but yeah, basically like working like and using like high profile stuff like that is really helpful if you can get it through your networking. If you can't, really just having that solid video, just through your, your previous local experience and stuff like that. And then going to one major, right? One major. And sometimes this is all it takes. The Arbiter Method, right? Find a good commentary partner and just go off, have a great set. And people will watch that. It's got to be a big tournament, like we said. So if you can only make it to one major, make it the best one. Make it the one with the most exposure. And this is going to give you the best chance at getting at an esports team like Laird, like Arbiter. As of like recently, these are the guys that I've seen that have done it and done it well. And then, after that, say, okay, here's the downside. Say it doesn't work out, right? Say you end up like me. No, I'm just kidding. But you end up in a spot where you're not able to have like a big exposure or a tournament event. I would say really you go back to square one, right? I wouldn't say editing a new video, but really just focusing on where you can get better in commentary, focusing on your small things, right? The intricacies, I can't say the word right now, but intricacies, that's a word, of Smash, right? I've said it like 1,000 times, but you use that and you go back and you see the next major that you can go to and you try to make an impact. And if you do, you'll get noticed. And if you don't, it's really unfortunate. Like I said, commentary is a really big gamble. It's hard to get into. It really isn't based off merit until you get into a small group of people. Shout out Aiden Calvin, because he is the man who was like quoted that. He's a great dude who works in TOing. You guys probably know him. But like stuff like that, using that small sort of piece and then really just trying to build off it. It takes a while. It's it's a tough game to get into. It really is. And to get in a team, it is like you do have to be in the top percent. So really best of luck to you guys. That is like all I can say. That's like so much commentary. Hopefully you got a lot from that. I think I didn't give as much to you maybe for the Smash part. I apologize. There are probably other people that I will recommend you watch in a moment here that can talk to you about the Smash side. Honestly, Mewtwo King is probably just a great guy to talk to. If you ever talk to, like, go to his stream, he could probably tell you a lot about him building as a player, and I think his fundamentals are like out of this world. So if you like go talk to somebody like that who can teach you the fundamentals of Smash and then build up from that, or even having Metafy coaching from somebody, and just coaching in general could be really helpful for you as another Smash player. So there's an extra tip for you guys, for you small Smash players. As far as TOing goes, this is a 36-minute video. I am so sorry, but TOing, much simpler. Okay, small thing. TOing, what you want to do, right? You're a TO. How do you start a small tournament? You just try to get funding, right? Get one spot. Make sure you send it to literally as many friends as possible, right? You have a good moderation team, people who have been in the community who already know Smash. It's kind of like if you're going to get into TOing, kind of slide in with other people that you know that are already doing it, or find people that are doing it and try to join in with them. And then literally just do it. Really just go to smash.gg, learn how it works, go to Battlefy, whatever you use to run your Smash tournament. And I would say if you can, start with a local. Online is going to be hard to get money for, but if you do a local, people will definitely pay a fee to go and hang out at whatever venue you have set up. And that's like basically what you do until you're able to work on bigger projects. You kind of develop, you get those networking connections, and then you go into things and you can volunteer. Volunteering is a great thing to do. If you want to get into TOing, volunteer at one of those major events, because they'll pay for some of your stuff sometimes if you're really solid and you put in the effort and the work. Like, I know Team Charge Shot is like, shout out those guys, Middle Tennessee. They do so much in that kind of effort. They did that for like KIT. I went to their tournament. Fantastic tournament, by the way. Shout out everybody there. They take like just everything in their small area and they put it into kind of like a regional, the most regional, unofficial regional tournament basically for them, which is, I think it basically is at this point. But they take that, right? And then they move that along, and then they work at somewhere like Riptide, which I think did they work at Rip? I think they did. I'm not sure. But they worked at a couple other major tournaments. I think they might have went to MomoCon this past year and did some TOing there. I mean, really just helping out with the equipment. Having equipment is huge. If you have setups, right? If you have like a monitor, a switch, stuff like that, that's going to be one thing you really want to have when you're getting into TOing. And that's kind of it. That's really it, is just having setups and then going and talking to people about it, because there's a lot of people looking to run Smash tournaments. Whatever state you're in, whatever city you're in, there's probably a Smash community. You just got to find it. And when you do, you can start working on that and then really just build up from there. It's kind of, it's a really simple process, kind of looking at all of this and talking about it now. But it's definitely really confusing when you're starting for your first time. So I really hope you found this helpful. Like I said, any questions, you can DM me on Discord, Twitter, preferably put it in the comments. I'll see it pretty quickly. But, if you want to, you can. I am free over Discord or Twitter. I really hope, you guys found this helpful. I just try to speak on my own experience and what I found was helpful for me. So maybe it works for you. I really hope it does. And hopefully we see you out there either playing Smash or commentating, or even TOing. That'd be great. I also help with TOing a lot, and it's really fun. It's something that I really want to get in more to, kind of like the back end of esports. As far as management goes, this is where it gets hard. Management is something that I would describe as I would say the most difficult thing to get in on esports. It's really based off merit. So it's like if you're at an org, you just have to stay there forever, realistically, or just a long time, and really just work hard at what you're best at, whether it's running online tournaments or being a media manager for them. It's really hard, kind of like saying, hey, could I fill in an intern role, is a way to do it. You really just got to apply for a lot of teams if you're looking for management, and just show off your skills. Like if you're someone who works in a field like that, or you're going to college, you have a degree for that already maybe, or you're working on it, it's something that's super helpful. for me, I'm working on my sportscasting and esports casting degree, so that's really helpful for me in, you know, whether it's commentating or doing whatever I'm doing. So that's definitely something that I am going to look to use and to, you know, work to my benefit as far as my, you know, my speech and everything else goes. So yeah, I think that's like pretty much good. Sorry I didn't really talk about management or TOing much. Those are a lot. TOing is not really hard to get into, but management definitely is. You definitely have to have a lot of merit in getting into that. Where I would say if you're a player or a commentator, you definitely need it, but I know the process a little bit more. I would say I'm newer to management, but I've done it for a long time. I guess now I've done it for a couple of years. But yeah, it really is just staying with the org and just, you know, asking what else you can do. If you're a player or a content creator for them, and then you can build off of that past knowledge that you've used from the other esports teams, and just apply somewhere else. So it really is just starting somewhere small. You're going to have to accept that you're not going to get paid, and you're going to have to bite the bullet. Unfortunately, a lot of it is volunteer work, and then build up to something paid. So there you go. That is 40 minutes of me talking about a lot of things. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm so sorry it's so long. Alex is going to be editing more gameplay videos, but I thought I'd do some more discussion type videos. I'll probably be doing more discussion type talk on Smash and stuff like on my stream. So I think that's what we're going to do more often. Like I said, I really like watching Toph's videos. I really want to kind of get a style for that. Toph, I promise I'm not copying you. Love you, brother. But I do want to do more like discussion type Smash content. So I think we're going to study a lot of stuff. And we can talk about it. We can talk about cool stuff. Like Galint. If you don't know what that is, that's grounded actual legend tangibility. That's a fun one. Look it up, Google, or we'll talk about it on stream. Probably no, yeah, come to my stream. Come to my stream, we'll talk about it. But yeah, there you go. That is everything. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully it was somewhat informative for you. And if not, or you have any questions, or I guess you disagree with me, let me know what you disagree with. And yeah, we should definitely, you know, inform people in the comments. If you think that's another way, maybe you're someone else who found another way into esports, definitely comment below. Say, hey, if you're looking to get into it, this is how I did it. This is what was helpful for me, and maybe that was helpful for you. I was just saying it from my personal experience, how it worked for me, and how it works for others that were around me, what I saw. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you tonight on stream. Probably around 9:30. So yeah, it's 8:21 right now. See you guys in an hour and 10 minutes. Peace.